You poor Medici.
What did you say about my mother?
Inevitably, if we had a big series, you're going to get a massive fan favorite. You know, character everyone loves. The face of the franchise. If someone doesn't know much about the series, you can say, it's where this guy is from, and they'll get it. Having a big breakout character is usually a good thing. They usually have to be super likable. They're usually super remarkable. Sometimes this character could be enough to get people into the franchise. The thing is, there's a dark side to getting characters so popular. It gets to a point where the fan favorite takes all the attention from the rest of the cast. Why make merch anyone but this guy? They won't sell. But writers may have a clear favorite, giving them all the important moments and scenes, completely studying the growth of other characters, or even leading them to being written out. It isn't always doom and gloom. Writers can have clear favorites while still acknowledging the rest of the cast. Just because one character's a big merch push doesn't mean the rest can't get their crumbs. Sometimes the fan favorite only gets attention out of the series instead of in it. There's always asterisks. The thing is though, it's sad to see this happen to a franchise, especially if it's a character you actually like. It can lead to people hating them for overexposure, or a character being warped to better show off their more marketable popular traits, changing the franchise more around themselves instead of the wider world. The perfect example of this is The Minions. The first sequel Minions is a great movie. It's funny, but it knows that the real best part is the heart and relationship between Gru and the girls. The Minions make the occasional cameo, but they never take away from it. As the sequels go on though, they appear more and more, becoming the thing in merchandise and advertising, to the point of being on everything, getting 2 whole movies to themselves, sucking out a lot of the charm of the first film. To the point where people not even liking the first movie anymore. Okay, so the Minions are a pretty easy target. It's basically a requirement for every animation YouTuber to make a jam about Illumination. What about something else? What's something a bit more controversial? A character that I and people actually hold dear. What about Stitch? Now, first things first, I adore Stitch. And best video ever, please watch. He was number 2, a position he shall stay at for the rest of time. I adore Stitch. He was my childhood and a character that still holds up. But over 2 decades since the original movie came out, Stitch has been a pretty consistent series. Show movies and shows and other material showing off. The thing is though, the film isn't Stitch. It's Lilo and Stitch. And it's other characters too. But as franchise went on, Stitch got more and more focused over any other character. Disney officially renamed the series from Lilo and Stitch to just Stitch. So yeah, obviously the remake pushed me to make this video, but Stitch has been going on since 2002. When did this shift happen? That's what I want to find out. I love this franchise and this character so much, but Lilo and Stitch is more than just Stitch, so join me as I get to the bottom of this. Before we get to the side material, I want to set up why the original film is just so genuinely great. If you go to a random person on the street and ask them to describe Lilo and Stitch, they'll probably mace you. But after that, they'll probably say something like it's about a kid who adopts an alien, and the alien slowly befriends a kid, and they become a family. Well, not wrong. There's a lot of nuance to this film. There's a lot more themes to it than just Ohana and his family. There's very heavy commentary on Hawaiian tourism and colonization. With Lilo taking pictures of weirdos at the beach, the entire joke with his suntan tourist being he doesn't understand culture and gets constantly punished, Lilo doesn't really seem to care what any of the destruction Stitch causes to tourists. Myrtle is the only white kid in the hula school, and she can do whatever because her mom is successful, and at the lead is scene of Lilo scaring a tourist by faking a tsunami alarm. Nani's whole thing is also really interesting, as she's forced to grow older, now being the single parent to her own sister, struggling to keep the house and her job, where it's easy to miss. She was fired due to being darker skinned. Poor Bubbles feels like he doesn't need to be there at first, but he's a great looming clock. Just his appearance tells you something's off and is going to go wrong, and that Lilo and Nani need to clean up their act fast. But he's not a bad guy, he's just doing his job. Of course, the Stitch and alien stuff is great too. It generally ties together the deeper aspects, and not only makes it more enjoyable for the dumb kid me, but also really helps to make the other stuff shine when you contrast it with the more fantastical stuff. It's also just super fun. Stitch himself, though, isn't just comic relief. He's a monster only made to be evil, but he's forced to have emotion, forced to love, and slowly open up. The scene of him rising, he's alone and tries to recreate the ugly duckling, because he thinks it'll work out. His story still hits hard. It's a creature who doesn't understand emotion, trying to force a happy ending for himself. There's so many characters in this movie. What I love about them is that every single one of them could be a villain, but none are. Jumbo claims to be evil, but he's just kind of egotistical at worst. He's really a good guy deep down. Nani seems super harsh and strict, but everything she does is for Lilo's sake. Pleakley is working to stop Stitch, but he's really just a nice guy. Bubbles is looking out for greater good, as is the Grand Councilwoman. Myrtle, okay, Myrtle's Hitler. But even Gantu was again just doing his job, trying to stop a dangerous super weapon. Plus there's a lot of really funny moments, great animated scenes. Pleakley gets eaten alive by mosquitoes. This is when I started hating them as a kid. This film is genuinely a masterpiece, and my favorite of the main Disney films. Okay, let's ruin that now. Okay, so all things considered, the sequel movies are pretty decent. All 3 of them have pretty good animation compared to Disney sequels, and a lot of fun action, and they expand the world pretty well. Stitch the movie is the worst name for a movie ever. I'm going to find whoever names this film something so generic, and I'm going to force them to sit in a lobster tank. But yes, this is pretty clearly the first time I focus more on Stitch. This serves as the start of the TV series, where Lilo and Stitch found out about the other experiments Jumbo made, and his old partner Hamsterville, who wants to use them for evil. It's a TV pilot, so it's not too special, but it's cute. Lilo is basically just a tag along, but Jumba, Gantu, and Hamsterville all get major roles. And this really sets up Jumbo on the path to be the chaotic good of loving his experiments and not wanting to hurt them, while also giving out some advice to help stop them. And Gantu going from a simple stoic villain to the big idiot goofball who's definitely gay for Ruben. Lilo doesn't matter at all, but hey, it's one film. I'll allow it. Especially since Stitch has a glitch followed. This is very clearly the piece of Stitch media that is the closest to the original. The tone, look, pretty much everything. Like, you know that scene of Stitch crying? It's from this one, not the original. Clearly cross-dressing, pretending to be David's girlfriend? Also from this. The greatest fights in animation history? You guessed it, from this. It also gives a pretty good mix of giving love to everyone. Stitch is of course the main focus with the weird glitches that cause him to become evil. But Lilo is also dealing with him, while also trying to prove herself as a great hula girl like her mom. Nani is trying to get back to her normal life, while balancing out with the alien shenanigans. David is trying to ask Nani out, and Jumbo has revealed that he's actually very caring for Stitch, and is working in the background to fix him. Also, Quigley is cross-dressing again, and he has that stuff on! It's actually a really cute movie. It really feels like a natural expansion of the original film. This is definitely the least egregious example here. Final sequel is Leroy and Stitch, which serves as a finale to the animated series. It's mostly just Stitch alien-focused, but I can give it a pass. It's about his Hamsterville creating an evil Stitch to kidnap all the experiments to kill them. It's made as finale attempted genocide. And then Stitch rallies up all the experiments to fight Leroy. It's mostly just a big action scene. There's a few good moments for other characters. Gantu and Ruben reform. Jumbo is the one who makes Leroy and tells Stitch how to beat him. And Lilo is the one who helps the three accomplish their arcs. Yeah, it's pretty fine for a film that's more focused on sending off the show. The movies are pretty decent, but you can tell they're slowly shifting to Stitch. If anything, they're more focused on the experiments himself and not just him. But I can let it slide. Now, how do the shows hold up? I adore Lilo and Stitch series. This was a show I could watch consistently as a kid. I love all the new experiments, the new sides to the main cast, that awesome Flash game where you stack sandwiches, more proof that Fifi and Jumbo aren't straight. Great show, still holds up. This though, yes, less Lilo and Stitch and more Stitch. Obviously the main focus is the alien stuff, but hey, it's all about trying to reform the experiments and find a place that they belong. So this guy's family still shining through. And Nani is still like, there, I guess. God, it hurts to criticize this show. Kenny would call adult me poopy head. He might call me a large poopy head though when I say this. Lilo's done very dirty in the show. In here, the bratty, socially inept, deeply lonely, but still deep down nice girl who's healing her broken past is gone. She's just a normal kid. People like her now. Besides Myrtle, but Myrtle's saved him, so who cares? She's really not Lilo anymore. Lilo only exists to support Stitch, creating and expanding human culture to him, but mostly just someone who tags along with Stitch. Stitch can't fully talk, so she's basically just the person who can argue and talk with the main cast as Stitch gets things done. It's not to say she doesn't have her moments, and this is after the first movie, so she's grown, but she's kind of grown to a different character. And this is really just Stitch's show. At least this tries though. The anime and the Chinese adaptation don't even do that. Taking place a decade after Leroy and Stitch for the anime, and the Chinese show taking place in an alternate universe also after Leroy, both is a Stitch with a new human who counters a bunch of new aliens. But even more than the American show, the new kids don't matter. They really get any notable development or focus episodes, it's just a Stitch show. But the anime is literally just called Stitch with an exclamation point. As in Spell with one, it's not literally called Stitch with an exclamation point. They're really removing a bit of that heart. And while I can still find enjoyment in some of the alien stuff, it's tough with some of the other characters like Jumbo and Hamsterville. Not Gantu, going back to Redemption, pissed me off. Frick you for that Stitch anime. Frick you, I hate you, die. A part of the series is lost without Lilo. She needs to be there to stitch it together. Also, Lilo is clearly missing from the official anime High School Musical crossover. I'll never forgive you, Troy, you dick. I don't want to throw everything else here. The big one I want to talk about is the Disney's theme park attraction, Stitch's Great Escape. On the surface, it looks like a cute, innocent ride showing Stitch getting caught prior to him befriending Lilo. He escapes, and he causes havoc on the guests in their Disney World. Seems like an innocent enough ride. But fun fact, this is actually the most hated Disney attraction out there. Not for the ride itself, but mostly for replacing the previous ride, Extraterrestrial Alien Encounter. That was heavily praised as being one of Disney's best rides. It had a great dark atmosphere and extremely creative special effects. Alongside being genuinely terrifying, many people hated that this wussified that ride, removing a lot of its bite. To a lot of people, ruining a lot of what makes Stitch great. Obviously this isn't canon, but ignoring Lilo completely definitely rubbed people the wrong way. Also, Stitch is heavily portrayed here as being rude and crude. That was an important element of him in the movie, but he also allowed a likable and innocent vibe that isn't included here. The thing is, most merchandise made more recently did the exact opposite, viewing him as just a cute cuddly mascot, and not the still dangerous and mischievous creature he was before. Great Escape was so hated that it put off Disney from ever making another Stitch attraction, despite him being such a cash cow. Compared to Disney's next massive franchise of Frozen, which despite being a decade younger, already has several attractions. Great Escape closed in 2018. Some people cheered, some people like me were disappointed, because I personally liked the ride, but it was replaced with just a meet and greet. With still no word on if something major would replace it. And the other is a major turning point for Stitch. The first time they went really all in on him as a weird member of Disney's family, separate from Lilo and most of the cast. For better or for worse. There's not much else notable from the Stitchverse, as you want to call it. I call it that because I'm cool. There's a manga where he's trained by a samurai in feudal Japan. I'm just baffled this exists. The big thing though is all the crossovers. Stitch is a shoo-in for most crossovers Disney makes. Usually, it's just Stitch himself. Rarely Jumba, Pleakley, Lilo, and Gontu might pop up, but the most common tag-along for Stitch is actually Angel, his girlfriend from the cartoon. I'll talk more about her later. Stitch is either the gross, cool action star or cute little shrinkly mascot radiates through these crossovers. Never them together, besides the crossovers in his own show, obviously. Stitch is kind of a toss-up of what version of him we'll use, but rarely is it the true Stitch. So, that remake, am I right, guys? As the first 21st century remake Disney made, this film immediately had a lot of eyes and backlash on it. People are already sick of these remakes, and the trailers seem to take one step forward, two steps back. After watching it, I can say it's honestly decent. Clear respect to source material for the most part. It has some new jokes that I find funny, some great effects for a film that is fairly lower budget, and overall, it's a film you know. Problem is that those changes are pretty major and really hurt the film. This is a Stitch video first and foremost. How is he? Well, it's the same Stitch you know. He does pretty much everything you know from the original. He looks the part. They translate him perfectly, but granted, Stitch is probably like the easiest character to translate to live action CGI ever. He's Stitch. And Disney knows you cannot mess with Stitch. All the trailers were exclusively about Stitch, barely focusing on Lilo, Nani, or anyone else. They brought back Trish Sanders to voice him. Poster literally cuts off Lilo's face just to focus more on Stitch. The interviews with Stitch. The ads are about Stitch. All the merchandise is about Stitch. This focuses so heavily on Stitch that I think it's no shock that they heavily damaged every character in the film besides him. He's what Disney knows people care about. They'll keep him the same and push him, and the rest, who cares? Nani's mostly the same, besides the elephant in the room. Previous relationship with Jumba isn't as genuine, and become human instead of wearing easily see-through costumes. Also, he doesn't cross-dress. It's generally so freaking over. Bubble is split into two characters. The guy we know is the government agent, who still hits the major beats, but introduced to us as a government agent who knows aliens are real. Quickly mentions that he can't destroy Earth because of mosquitoes early in the film. Never gets brought back, so we don't know if Bubbles is responsible. He's kind of meaningless overall. The other social worker really could have just been him. But I will say, her being played by Nani, the original voice actor, is a pretty cute touch. Myrtle and the Icing Tourist, or Snow Cone in this film, aren't white here. And Lilo's disinterest in tourists in general is missing. And Nani's lighter skinned, with racism of her being toned down, for her skin is removed. Pretty much killing the commentary from the original. As going back to Lilo, I appreciate them going back to her being more bratty and weird. She still feeds Pudge, she still beats up the devil herself, she invaded hotels and releases chickens, and of course, she meshes up the social workers session. But sadly, they removed the really mean-spirited aspects of her, like her voodoo dolls, and again, her taking pictures of tourists. Not the biggest thing, it is the closest to the original Lilo we've seen since Has It Witch, but still, sad. That leads us to Gontu. He's dead. Yeah, they didn't have Gontu at all in this film, despite him being the main villain in the original. The film is going to be a Disney Plus exclusive, like the Lady and Tramp remake, or a Peter Pan remake. This is where you say, those exist? And now you know why this is theatrical. That the actor strike put a lot of films on hold and messed up the schedule. And hey, this film is already in production. Might as well use this as a space filler. Disney knew they could make a ton of Stitch merchandise, which they did. And yes, it was a pretty massive financial success. So it was a great move, but it still meant it had a smaller budget compared to films that were always intended to be theatrical. This meant affording several CGI characters was hard. So Gontu got the axe. I adored Gontu as a character, so him being given the boot really hurts. It really shows Disney does not care about him. Disney has forgotten Gontu. But hey, who's the villain if Gontu's out? Is it Bubbles? The Grand Councilwoman? Introduced Hamsterville early? No one? Myrtle fully getting her final form of being a hyperdimensional being where everyone across the universe needs to put an end to her evil once and for all? Or is there a certain self-proclaimed evil scientist they could fully turn evil? Yeah, so this was the big thing. Jumba is the villain now. The film starts pretty standard for him, but after a few too many failures on his part, he betrays Pleakley, acts far more hostile to Lilo while trying to still capture Stitch, and when he gets him, instead of returning him, kidnaps him and intends on mutating him to an even stronger form of the real world. He never redeems himself, he's in front of Pleakley, he's just a straight evil scientist. Now this isn't the first time a remake made a good guy evil. The others were either characters no one cares about, or already kind of morally questionable. This is character assassination. Jumba isn't some genuine evil mastermind, he's Doofenshmirtz. He's a doofy genius scientist who listens more to his silly fantasies and grandeur than the fact that deep down, he's really just a good guy, who with the right push, pretty easily reforms and give him the chance. This isn't Jumba, but they don't care about Jumba, because no one gave him a reason to. It's really talked about, he's got no merch. He's not really in the cultural zeitgeist the same way Stitch is. So yeah, make him a villain. We're going to this film for Stitch, so who cares about him or Gonto? Jumba has 3 simple jokes in the original movie. His disguise easily see through, his funny accent, and that he acts like a criminal mastermind when he's really just a decent, albeit egotistical guy. They don't give him a see-through disguise, he never reforms, and like, Zebulon Abacus is a good actor, but his voice does not fit Jumba at all. It is such a bad miscast. If you want him just because he's on the bigger side of Jumba's human disguise, I'm just saying, David Harbour is right there. He knew the accent too. Also in stuff like Thunderbolt, Stranger Things, he nails the goofy father figure vibe, which, you know, is Jumba's whole thing. Whenever a Disney remake comes out, I always hear the exact same joke. The only thing the remake accomplished isn't getting us to respect the original. And every single time, I don't see it. I never really see anyone saying what the originals do better than the remakes, besides for basic things, like being more expressive or brighter. Nothing film specific. This is the exception. People are now talking about the stellar commentary of the original. The great villain Gonto was, being really intimidating, not truly evil, just doing his job. Cool design, being more dived into as the series goes on. How great Jumba is with his genuine love and respect for Stitch, being almost fatherly, while still being over top and hammy. That one lifeguard who only appeared for like 3 seconds, people really liked her. And also Nani. Okay, people always into Nani. Same for his British underworld, it's over. And of course, the message that Ohana means family. And family means no one gets left behind or forgotten. Yeah, okay, let's talk about the ending. Okay, major thing. It is not as bad as people make it out to be. Yes, Lilo is given to her neighbors as Nani goes to follow her dreams of being a marine biologist. The thing is, Lilo actually pushed her to do it. Nani is extremely hesitant to do so. And Nani actually grabs Jumba's portal gun before she goes, meaning she can always see Lilo whenever she wants. With the film ending, we're all sleeping together. I can get the idea here. We can still be family together, even if you're not physically together. It's not as bad as people make it out to be. Still bad though. That big dream of Nani's, mentioned twice in the whole film. Both commented by their neighbor first. And the second time was immediately before they decided to do it. This doesn't feel like her lifelong dream if she herself seems perfectly content with staying with Lilo. The neighbor's whole deal really just seems to be pushing Lilo and Nani apart. I don't get it. Also, why didn't you call her Mrs. Hasagawa? Lilo is such an easy reference. It still feels really off to have Nani give away Lilo, especially since Lilo didn't even know she had the portal gun. She needs to keep it a secret from Bubbles, the old lady, David, and Pleakley. Kind of going against the potential message of found family and respecting your family, and yeah, it's messy. It's very, very messy. Even the director's defense of it is, family doesn't drift apart. Which, like, bro, you blew it. I figured they could do whatever they want. Ruin Jumba. Remove Gonto. Downplay Pleakley's beloved traits. Remove several scenes and moments, like the Ugly Duckling book and Elvis's importance. Split Lilo and Nani apart. Because, like, you're here for Stitch, right? Who cares all about that? If they nail Stitch, that's all that matters, right? And that's where things end for Stitch. So, where are we? Well, it's pretty clear to see the gradual shift to Stitch being the main star, shafting pretty much every other important character besides him. There's one character, though, who did pretty well besides him. Angel. Despite being from the TV show, and Disney being dismissive of their shows in general, she very frequently gets merch to this day. Also being pretty common in crossovers, like being the only show character to make it into Speedstorm. Heck, another experiment, Sparky is the only TV show character from Kingdom Hearts. And before you say, oh, well, it's just because they're connected to the movie, all the other Disney shows based on movies and direct DVD sequels have their own fan-favorite original characters. They aren't included in anything besides their own shows. It's just for Stitch. There is an argument that Angel is the second most pushed character in the franchise, and that push has made her arguably the third most iconic character in it. It isn't just her. Ruben and both Leroy and 627 get similar pushes, even making a cameo in the remake. So why are they going to push over the moons of other experiments? because they're just Stitch again. Disney doesn't push them because they're beloved characters or because they're the best of Stitch's cousins. That's Richter. It's because they're Red Stitch, Pink Stitch, and Yellow Stitch. No kid's buying an Angel plush now, knowing her lore, or turns out even her name. She hasn't been anything major since 2006. It's just, hey, girl Stitch. You'll never see Marsha Lilo. Oh, that's because no kid wants to buy a doll of a little Hawaiian girl. Oh yeah, well dude, they're still making dolls of baby Moana, so... Stitch is Disney's biggest modern moneymaker, alongside Frozen. But they push everything for Frozen. For Stitch, his work could just be a mascot. A face. A catchphrase. Just look at his design. It has gotten much bigger rather than the alien eye of the original. The remake has shortened his snout to make it more pug-like. They gave him Scrump because Scrump's popular, even though he never interacted with it, and that's Lilo's doll. Because people care about Stitch, the idea, not Stitch the man. Like the overly cutesy, uwu, kawaii Stitch Disney's pushing, that's not Stitch. He would not freaking say that. The remake is, of course, the best place to look. When the original came out, there were trailers of Stitch taking over Disney's classic films. They made to show Stitch as the troubled child of Disney's brand, him interacting with these beloved characters and stories. The remake tried that, but he's not interacting with these characters, he's interacting with symbols. The Avengers A, the lightsaber, Aladdin's lamp, the Pixar lamp. It's about brands, not characters. I can imagine a kid freaking out rewatching the Lion King Stitch trailer over and over. I doubt a single kid cared about Stitch breaking the Fox logo. Stitch is the perfectly designed character. He's equally appealing to both boys with the coolness and girls with the cuteness. Disney, though, constantly only focuses on only one side of him. Stitch is a shell of his former self. Something like the Stitch franchise is at odds with itself. Would it be better if this character and series never blew up? The answer, of course, is no. I love that Stitch is so iconic. I love that I grew up with all the movies and shows, and those extended all the cast to be fully formed and lovable characters. It's great that Stitch is still part of my life, and the life of countless people. It's just sad to look and see what he's becoming. But it's true, fans still love him for what he truly is. And for that, he'll always be part of my Ohana. Never left behind or forgotten. But this video will be one I will have to leave behind. I have other things to take care of for now.
Oh yes, all of our dogs are adoptable. Except that one!
He'll always be part of my Obama. He'll always be I almost said Obama, mother fricker. Ah! Why do I keep making that freaking mistake? Obama means family, no one means love you.